What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are live doing this thing again. Not sure what that's doing. You good there, computer? All right. Streamlabs more like it. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Figured we would this is the start. If you guys have been waiting for my channel to kind of take the next step, you've been just wanting me to do more. Well, I have good news for you. My channel will be taking the next step moving forward. I'm going to try to do a stream literally every night. I'm going to be trying to do a sports stream, and then I'm going to try to do a gaming stream at least 4 times a week with the gaming stream, at least 4 times a week with the sports stream. So I didn't know what to call this. I figured I would just put something about Julio Jones. We could definitely talk about Julio Jones, but I didn't know what to call it. I just wanted to stream. That is the good thing with Twitch. I could just stream, like I just throw in a title and I just stream about whatever I want. And I don't know. I do like that about Twitch. Be sure to go over to Twitch. Follow me, JKBogan15. That's not leaving YouTube. I'm staying on both platforms. I'm going to push both platforms big time. Facebook is also there, so that will be that. But I hope everyone's doing well on this Monday night. I think we might do a Resident Evil Village stream after this. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to stick around. But yeah, what's up, Pac-Man? Joe, Rod, Brady, how we doing? You think New England? I mean, I hope Julio Jones goes to New England. I think it'd be a great fit. I know he wants to play with Cam Newton, but I mean, to be honest with you, I think straight up that they should focus more on getting Mac Jones the football. I think Mac Jones is ready to compete day one. I watched a lot of Alabama. Of course, you guys know I like Alabama, Roll Tide. But Mac Jones, to me, it's never been a question about his ability. It was a question about, is he getting picked a little too high at number 3, with that argument. And then he didn't go number 3. He went at 15 to the Patriots. To be honest with you, I think Mac Jones should be starting, and I think the Julio Jones pickup would be smart. I think it'd make a lot of sense. You have Julio, then you have, Nelson Aguilar. You go out, you get Kendrick Bourne, very underrated, receiver in his own right. You still have N'Keal Harry. So I actually like the way that looks, not to mention you have Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and that offensive line. Let Mac Jones throw the rock. I'm telling you. You think New England for sure? What's up, Joe? I don't think Julio is going to the Rams. I don't think Julio is going to the Rams. They would have to make some crazy. They'd have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I just don't see it. Unless Snead got a concussion on draft night. What's up, Henry? Oh, also, guys, I figured out how to get the chat working, so hope you guys enjoy the chat bar on the side. Glad we were able to make that work. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to see it, but I can see it pretty well. Julio? Yeah, I don't think Julio is coming to LA. I definitely don't, but I understand that with Cam. Definitely with everything going on with COVID, I understand. I mean, COVID really changes the way, some guys, I mean, it was so new, we didn't know a ton about it. I mean, just look at the running back Armstead. He got COVID and didn't even come back the rest of the year. No, I don't think Julio goes to the Rams. Sleeping on him? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Julio went to the Rams, they would probably be trading either one of Van Jefferson, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and then they'd have to trade others to make it work. I just don't. I don't know. is that making you better? I don't know if it's making you better. Like, you get great, you get Julio Jones. Let me make the argument. There's nobody out there like Julio Jones that makes sense because, like, Julio Jones at this moment, literally, regardless of what you think about the handling of Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp on that tweet, because I can tell you right now, that was disgusting. That was poor journalism. And Shannon Sharp should have warned Julio Jones that he was on the air, because clearly he wasn't. If you guys haven't seen the clip, you got it, because it's just not right. But regardless of what you think about that, like, Julio Jones is on his way out. That's why he's being talked about. But if I could decide between, say, Khalil Mack tomorrow was like, you know what? I can't win here in Chicago. He can't. I mean, let's be real here. He can't. But what if he has the realization, like, I'm going to do what Julio did. I'm going to force my way out of Chicago. Now, that is something, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm looking at, because I feel like the Rams are ready to win a Super Bowl now. I think when you look at their team, there's not a ton of guys where I'm like, you know, if only they had this. Except for outside linebacker, because Leonard Floyd's great, but if you want to maximize Aaron Donald, if you want him to break that sack record, you go get him another guy. He's breaking the sack record. Imagine this. Let me paint this picture for you. You have Khalil Mack rushing off the edge. You have Leonard Floyd back rushing off the edge. And then you have Aaron Donald with Sebastian Joseph-Day and A'Shaun Robinson. You don't think Aaron Donald is going to get, like, is Aaron Donald really going to get double teamed if you have a Khalil Mack? Is he? I mean, like, to me, that's a trade that makes sense. The Julio Jones trade to me is greediness, because you already have the best wide receiver room in the league. So why jeopardize ruining the locker room or doing something like that when it's not a need? When you could argue that, not really argue, outside linebacker is somewhat of a need. Terrell Lewis, I don't know if we're ever going to see what Terrell Lewis could have been. Justin Hollins doesn't have immense upside. He's a good player, but he's not somebody that's expected to get a hell of a lot better. You know what I mean? Okoronkwo, sure, love having Leonard Floyd. But if you had another guy, Aaron Donald is likely not going to be double teamed if you have a Khalil Mack. I'm just saying. So I guess that's my thing, is that I don't think, like, Khalil Mack isn't available. And I understand this is only being talked about because Julio Jones has made himself available. But I guess what I'm saying is, if there was a pass rusher out there trying to get out, I'd be like, okay, I'd visit that. I don't see the point of pursuing this Julio Jones trade. Call me crazy. I don't get it. So, maybe Detroit, the Bucks. He wants to win, though, so I don't think... I mean, the 49ers seem like a very likely candidate, if you ask me. Very likely. I don't really want him to go there, being a Rams fan, but, I mean, I think they're a very likely candidate, because you have Trey Lance, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Brandon Ayuk. You have a pretty solid running game. Mostert. You added Trey Sermon in the draft. Elijah Mitchell. And then you have George Kittle at tight end. Pretty solid offensive line. Pretty good defense. Good head coach. That's a good destination for sure. Julio wants to win. I mean, that's. I don't think he has anything against Atlanta. I just don't think he feels like they're in a position to win a Super Bowl. I think he feels they're in a position that they're kind of in denial. They want to just continue to ride this ship with Matt Ryan. They want to do everything they can to win with Matt Ryan. But in reality, I don't think he thinks that they're a contender. And so for that reason, I think he wants out, which I don't really blame him. You know, you only get so long. I don't know why these like, you know, the old school fans. I don't know why old school fans get on these players so much for wanting to win. Well, if you're as good as you say you are, then you should be able to take them to the top yourself. Yeah, I mean, except the fact he's a wide receiver, you know? Like, He had his taste at the Super Bowl, 28-3, you know that. I don't blame him. They haven't gotten close since. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm Julio Jones, I'm thinking, the Titans are a good fit, but I think he helps them more than they help him because his goal is to win. Okay, he wants to win a Super Bowl. I don't see the Titans winning the Super Bowl this year. You go to the Chargers. That is something I've seen that mentioned a few times in this chat. The Chargers would make a ton of sense because the Chargers, to me, when you look at the fact that Mike Williams has an issue with his injuries, the Falcons are going to want to get something in return. Mike Williams could go in that trade for Julio Jones. You don't want two of the same guy. So it would be Julio Jones and Keenan Allen, and that would be a hell of a duo. And then you would have Josh Palmer. You'd have Jalen Guyton, a guy that can stretch the field for you. Yeah, I mean, I think that they could definitely do that. That would be a really good move for Julio. The Chargers, I've said it before, I think the Chargers and Rams are going to be in the Super Bowl. Don't sleep on what Brandon Staley's going to do with Derwin James and Joey Bosa and Kenneth Murray and all those guys. I mean, I just don't do it. But then with the offense, you went out, you got protection for Herbert. You could have gotten him another weapon. You got him protection. That was the smart thing to do. Now you could cash in on Julio Jones. I think Tom Telesco would be willing to take that risk. What's another one? I mean, the Packers, yeah, if if they want to try to keep Aaron Rodgers in town, maybe they offer him Julio Jones. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the 49ers make a lot of sense. The Patriots make a lot of sense. The Titans make sense, but more so for the Titans and less about Julio. I think the Raiders make sense. You want to diversify that receiving room. You have Bryan Edwards. You have Henry Ruggs III. You go out and you get Julio. That would definitely diversify, the receiving room. Man, what if the Bills got him? We keep talking about all these teams, but what if the Bills got him and paired him with Stephon Diggs? Look at what Josh Allen was doing, with those guys. They would still have Emmanuel Sanders, keep in mind. So you have Sanders, you have Diggs, and you have Julio. Maybe you trade Gabriel Davis to the Falcons in like a second or third round pick, and there you go. The Bills, that would be something. Henry, I don't know if you said that before I started talking about Buffalo, but I definitely think, yeah, I mean, that would be nuts. Any others? Yeah, Cole Beasley. They'd be absolutely loaded. They would absolutely be loaded. I mean, who's the worst fit? Let's talk about that. Guys, where's the one place, no matter what, you don't want to see Julio go? Like, where do you absolutely not want to see him end up? I'm not talking about rivals, but like if you like him as a player, if you're a fan of his, where do you think would be the worst spot for him to go? It'd have to be Houston, right? Because Houston's not competing for a Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson, we don't know what's going to happen with him. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor or Davis Mills. I like Davis Mills. I like Brandon Cooks, but I don't see how that would help Julio. The Jags, I don't know. I mean, the Jaguars, you'd have Trevor Lawrence. It would seem weird because, it doesn't, I don't know where the Jaguars are. Like, what are they going to be this year? But the Jets, I think the literal last thing Julio wants to do is go to a team that has a rookie quarterback, in my personal opinion. Because I know I wouldn't want to go if I'm a 30-year-old wide receiver. I'm looking to win a Super Bowl. The last thing I want to go is to a place that has a rookie quarterback. Just saying. and I don't think there's anything wrong with that belief because it's like I want to win a Super Bowl. I don't want to wait for this kid to develop. I want to win a Super Bowl. That's what it's all about. So, I mean, Arizona, we already saw DeAndre Hopkins, his tweet out there said he would restructure his deal if they can get Julio. That doesn't make any sense to me. you know, I mean, obviously it'd be a lot of talent, but it's just like Arizona, again, they have a really good receiving room. So, you know, they could do it, but it seems just kind of overkill at that point. Yeah, I know Ramsey's recruiting Julio, but you know, Ramsey recruits everybody. That's the real cool thing about Jalen Ramsey. He seems to really have he's bought into LA. You know, he's bought into the Rams. No, he's a real one for sure. Yeah. I think some people did forget about Houston. I think they're by far my prediction to be the worst team in the league. I keep seeing people say the Jets, like, as the worst team in the league, but it's like Houston absolutely looks like the worst team in the league, personally. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I get that, Red State Rams fan. That makes sense, you know. It's one of those things like where it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, how much do you really want to win? Do you want to take a pay cut so we can go out and get other players to help us win? And yeah, I mean, it's tough, but appreciate that, Henry. Yeah, if you guys like this, be sure to hit the like button. If you guys missed it, like I was saying earlier, my plan is to stream on here a bit, and then not long after, go live again and stream Resident Evil Village. And if you guys missed my opening bit, whatever you want to call it, I was just saying that I really want to, you know, start going full speed ahead and streaming every night if I can, and, you know, putting an emphasis on, you know, YouTube and Twitch. No, I don't think the Jets are terrible. I agree with you there. Julio for Webster in a conditional 6th. That's not happening. Oh, I agree, Sunshine. I just don't think there's any chance that the Rams can get him. There's just not enough cap. You can't fit that. That's going to be way too difficult. Yeah, you should play wide receiver, right? Yeah, I mean, okay. So Julio, I mean, if the Rams didn't sign Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, okay, but it's like, I don't know. You've invested all that draft capital. It kind of feels like a waste to me. Plus, I think they have the best receiver room. I've said that. Yeah. Well, okay. I think when you look at the rest of the league right now, and you look at it and you look at how many players are complaining about their spots. You have Aaron Rodgers, you have Russell Wilson, which it looks like that might have calmed down a little bit. You have Julio Jones. I just sense this kind of piggyback off of Deshaun Watson, where, you know, now guys feel more like they can be more mobile. And I mean, think about it. If we're going to, you know, relegate everything that people do to rings, then I think people are eventually going to go all out to try to get those said rings. I can't say I have any issue with that. That's why I don't just look at rings, by the way. Because if you just look at rings, Robert Horry has 7 rings and has more than Michael Jordan. Is he a better basketball player? Garrett Gilbert has more Super Bowl rings, I believe, than Kurt Warner. Because I think he had 2 with the Patriots. Does that mean Garrett Gilbert is a better quarterback than Hall of Famer Kurt Warner? Like, that's why I'm like, the rings, you know. Rings need context. That's the biggest thing. You can't just say rings, baby, and then that's, you know, you can't just be like, that's the end of it. And I'm just posting my link here, see if we can get some more people in here. Not bad for like literally. I didn't mention this at all. I didn't put up any links. I'm good with almost 40 viewers and, you know, pretty good stuff. I agree with that. You know, Jacob Harris to me is very similar to a Mike Evans, but I feel like they're trying to make him like Evan Ingram. You know, the guy ran a 4.4, whatever, 4.3. They want to move him in at tight end. They want to mold him. I mean, I know he's only been playing football for a few years because he played soccer, so I think that's really where their head's at. The Vikings would be crazy because if they got Julio, then that means that they would have Julio and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. They added Amir Smith-Marset and Olabisi Johnson, Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith, who, by the way, I think Irv Smith is going to be really good this year. Fantasy fans out there, I think Irv Smith might be a good bet to pick up. You're right, Renee. They're going to play him at tight end. I don't know how I feel about it, but that's what they're planning. Oh, and while I mentioned Twitch earlier, if you guys want to drop your Twitch channels, I will literally go through and follow all of them on. Out of all the teams, who has the best trade package for Julio? That's a great question. So, man, who has the best trade package for Julio? That's tough. I mean, I would say, all right, so hear me out when I say New England, because New England, they spend all of their capital. They spent all their cap space, and they still have plenty left, but they spent all their cap space. They didn't use picks. They didn't trade up for a quarterback, so they still have all that capital left. So they're not, you know, it's not like they traded up and got Trey Lance or anything like that, or Justin Fields. They stayed where they were, and they got Mac Jones. And because of that, since they didn't trade up, they didn't give up any future assets. So you could be looking at a future first for Julio Jones, and then, you know, maybe even trade. And hear me out. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I personally wasn't that high on him in the draft, but he's a former first-round pick. And you know how these offensive coaches are. You know, so these guys feel like they can fix anything. It's why Laquan Treadwell is literally on that roster right now. They want a young receiver, take a first-rounder from New England, and take N'Keal Harry and try to fix him up. And there you go. If you could fix up N'Keal Harry, then you have him, you have Ridley, and you have Gage, and you have Pitts. And that's not bad. If you're able to turn him into like a third-round wide receiver, that's not bad. I don't think Harry has the separation speed to make it in the league, to be honest with you. But I'm just saying that would be a good trade package if a team isn't like totally sold that N'Keal Harry's best days are behind him. Because if N'Keal Harry can get out of this shell and actually perform, that's not a bad trade package. N'Keal Harry and a first-round pick gets you a young receiver that you can develop, and you have a first-round pick out of it next season. It's going to have to start with a first-rounder. I saw something that the Falcons could trade for a second. I don't buy that. I think they could get a first for Julio. I do. I know that contract is big time, but I know he's just too talented to not take a first. So, okay, so let's say that. First and N'Keal Harry. What would the Vikings offer is the question. You guys brought up the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings could offer any of their young wide receivers. They could not offer Justin Jefferson. If Julio was 26 and Justin Jefferson was like 23, 22, okay, fine. You want to make that trade? That works. Julio's now in his 30s, so you got to be careful what you do here. I don't see a scenario there. Well, let's go through each team. So NFC West. So the Rams, they would have to offer. Let's just assume that they don't have cap issues. What would get the deal done? They don't have first round pick. So you'd have to look at a second round pick in either Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp, and maybe even Havenstein to get a deal done for Julio. Seattle. Seattle, I don't know if you could get Julio without giving up Metcalf or Lockett. Like, I feel like the Falcons wouldn't allow you to just take him and not give up one of them or give up Eskridge. You'd have to give up one of your 3 wide receivers. There's no way they're going to give up DK. So it would likely be Eskridge or Lockett for Julio and a first. And then, I mean, that might seem a little rich. Second and Lockett, I would say, would get the deal done. A first and Eskridge, maybe. The 49ers. I don't think that they'd want to really give up anybody. And they traded up, and I believe they lost a first-round pick next year, so that would be a little difficult. Probably give up multiple, like a second, like a second, a third, and then a 2023 first-round pick. That could get the deal done. I don't think they want to trade Ayuk or Debo, and they definitely don't want to trade Kittle, so that would complicate the matter there. And then with Arizona, I think it'd have to start with Christian Kirk in a first. So, you'd have Julio, and you'd have AJ Green, and you'd have Nuke Hopkins, and you'd have Andy Isabella. I don't think Isabella is enough to try. I mean, you would have to trade Kirk in a first, I think. And then the Giants, I don't really think that they need Julio, but they, would have to start with Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton in a first, I would probably say. And then the Eagles, I don't know how they would even be able to pull that off. I mean, they just don't have a ton to trade. And they wouldn't trade Smith, obviously. So, yeah, I don't know how they would do that. I mean, I guess it could start with Fulgham. So, like, Travis Fulgham in a first. Dallas, one of the 3 guys in a first. I would probably say Amari Cooper would be a second rounder if you attached him. But it would probably be like Michael Gallup in a first round pick would get the job done for Julio in Dallas. Which just why they were talking about that on First Take just blows my mind because there's no point of him going to Dallas. Then you have Washington, which would really be interesting because theoretically, you don't want to get rid of your signing you just got in Curtis Samuel, but he would really fit what Atlanta wants to do. So I could see that. Curtis Samuel, but I don't think that they could trade him. And then Terry McLaurin is off limits. So you figure, you're looking at Harmon, Antonio Gandy Golden. You could go as far as to say Antonio. Think about this. What if they trade Antonio Gibson? The Falcons get a legit running back. Washington gets Julio. I wouldn't do that, but I could see them doing that. So that's the NFC East and the West. And then in the North, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, you're not going to give up Adams. That doesn't make any sense. So if you're getting Julio Jones, then you'd probably have to give up. You'd probably it'd have to start with Amari Rodgers in a first at the very least. And then the Vikings, we already talked about. It's just, I don't know how you do that. A first and a second maybe. The Lions, I mean, there's not. I think they would want Hawkinson at that point because there's just not really. There are guys that I like, but like Tyrell Williams isn't going to cut it. You'd probably have to give up a first. Yeah, so I would say Washington. Yeah, I mean, I think Washington could do it. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of I'm thinking about I don't think the Vikings are a fit, to be honest with you. So the Vikings, Lions, and then the Bears, they have Allen Robinson. Theoretically, you'd want to pair him with Allen Robinson. You don't want to just trade him away for Allen Robinson's younger. So I don't know. I mean, Mooney and see, like, I like Mooney, so I wouldn't trade Mooney away like he's nothing, but I think it would cost like Mooney and I mean, at the very least, it'd cost Mooney and Anthony Miller. But then you would have to, give up a first or a second, probably a first. And then the last division in the NFC, you'd be looking at Tampa, which, I mean, Chris Godwin for Julio, but that would be horrible because Chris Godwin is a lot younger. That doesn't make any sense. And Antonio Brown, no, like they wouldn't do that. Well, actually, they could theoretically do that because if Tampa traded, okay, think about this. If Tampa traded Antonio Brown and they traded Jalen Darden and like a second, it's an intra-division trade, but they might make that trade for Julio. Because you'd be getting, I mean, obviously Jalen Darden would help. They want a young receiver. I mean, no doubt that is what they want. But then you'd also get Antonio Brown. And keep in mind, they don't look at this. This is the thing that's important. When you're talking about what the Falcons want in return, this isn't a team that feels like they're out of it. This isn't a team that's trying to rebuild. This isn't a team that's blowing everything up. This is just Julio Jones wanting out. That's what we need to make very clear here because the Falcons do feel like they're a contender. Arthur Smith is not looking at this as a rebuilding year. So Antonio Brown can help you, and I think going out and getting Jalen Darden helps for the future. That could be an option. Would be scary. Can you imagine? You have Godwin, Julio, and Mike Evans. So obviously the Falcons rule them out because they're trading. The Saints, rare intra-division trade. What if the Saints traded disgruntled wide receiver Michael Thomas for Julio? I don't know. I'm just saying. So Michael Thomas, and then I don't really know what else they could do there. Carolina's an interesting one. Carolina's a great fit for him because you could trade Terrace Marshall in a first for him. Or Terrace Marshall. Yeah, probably Terrace Marshall in a first, I'd imagine. And you could get Julio. Then you have Julio, you have DJ Moore, you have Robbie Anderson. And Terrace Marshall's a young receiver that can develop on the outside for the Falcons. Again, it's a rare intra-division trade. They happen. They don't happen a lot. So you might have to give up more. But if Carolina wanted him and just said, you know what, Sam, we're going to go all in on you. We believe in you. We're going to go out and get you Julio Jones, who has a massive catch radius. That would diversify, their wide receiver group. They still have David Moore in the back end, who they got from Seattle. So, I mean, that would be something definitely that you could think of. And then the AFC, I mean, let's go through the AFC North. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers. What if Pittsburgh was just like, you know what, Ben? We want to get you one last weapon. I don't know how we're making this all work cap-wise. I'm just talking about trade packages. James Washington and a first, maybe? Chase Claypool, I think they'd want to keep, obviously. Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster. So, I mean, it would probably be, you'd probably have to trade two of those wide receivers. So, I mean, Steelers fans, would you trade, Deontay Johnson or Juju or Claypool with James Washington to acquire Julio Jones for Big Ben? That is a interesting question. Because I do wonder if that's something that they would consider. I mean, yeah, I think that they would trade Juju in that case. So, I mean, I'm not saying they're 100% interested, but, you know, you're looking at Big Ben playing his last year. Juju feels like just a 1 year, you know, and they weren't even really in a hurry to bring him back. That depends. The Ravens here would be very interesting. You might have to trade Bateman. You know, maybe Sammy Watkins is part of the trade. Maybe Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay. The Ravens have a lot of pieces that they could trade to acquire Julio Jones. So they're actually a good fit because they have a lot of those younger receivers that the Falcons would be eyeing to take over for Julio. Perfect fit to me is the Baltimore Ravens because you take a guy who's generally accurate, not really pinpoint accurate, Lamar Jackson, and you give him a guy with the unbelievable catch radius that Julio Jones has. You have him, and if you can keep Bateman, you have two guys on the outside that really have great catch radiuses and, you know, do a great job of changing direction, you know, in midair and making all sorts of circus catches. And then say you're able to keep Marquise Brown, which now this sounds a little bit less likely, or even Devin Duvernay, or who knows, because you got Tylan Wallace. Maybe you're good with just getting those guys. You get rid of those guys. So, you know, what's up, AZZA? How we doing? So yeah, I mean, that definitely begs the question for sure. And then the Browns, man, if the Browns were to pull something off here and they were able to go out and get Julio and they didn't trade OBJ or Jarvis, that would be a scary trio. They would probably have to trade OBJ or somebody like that. But I could definitely see them being a fit. And then who else we got? The Bengals. I feel like any trade would have to start with Tyler Boyd, in my opinion. They wouldn't ask for Chase, or they might ask, but you know, they're not getting Chase. But Tyler Boyd might get a deal done. So it'd be Julio and Jamar Chase, and you'd be trading Tyler Boyd away. And to me, the Falcons would be winning that deal because Boyd is young, Boyd is underrated, Boyd is consistent, and he's somebody that can line up all over, you know, the field. So to me, that's definitely somebody that I would definitely like him and his fit in Atlanta. I actually kind of want that to happen now. And then let's just say, you know, obviously Houston, they're the worst fit of them all. Tennessee is a better fit for Tennessee than it is for Julio, but again, you know, him and AJ Brown would be a really nice tandem. Also having Josh Reynolds and Des Fitzpatrick, not bad. Jacksonville, you know, you have Marvin Jones, you have DJ Chark, you have Laviska Shenault. To me, any trade, you know, for Julio Jones would have to start with Shenault. So you'd probably have to trade Laviska Shenault and a first-round pick for Julio Jones. That would be a pretty good move for the Falcons. The Colts are very interesting because the Colts could just say, you know, T.Y. Hilton, you know, this is, you know, we really want to win this with Carson Wentz. So we're going to keep you, and we're actually going to mortgage our future and trade either Pittman or Paris Campbell and go out and get Julio Jones for Carson Wentz, and then roll with T.Y., Julio, and either Pittman or Campbell. And I think if you trade Campbell away, it's a first-round pick. Pittman's probably a first-round pick or a second-rounder, but I could definitely see that. And then the Raiders are an interesting one, but they just don't have a ton to work with. Like, there's not like maybe Bryan Edwards. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I don't feel like Atlanta, you know, accepts that deal if it's not for like Henry Ruggs, but Vegas would want to, you know, pair him with Henry Ruggs, in my opinion. So I don't see that working out. Denver is a very interesting option. They have a ton of ammo. You have KJ Hamler, you have Cortland Sutton, you have Tim Patrick, you have Jerry Jeudy, you have Noah Fant, Albert O. they have a lot of ammunition. So if they wanted to get Drew Lock, a veteran wide receiver that can make something happen in midair, changes direction, all that, then they could make that happen. I mean, I personally wouldn't trade Sutton, or Judy, but maybe Atlanta would be fine with Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler and like a second. Patrick came on strong last year. They brought him back. They're definitely loaded at the wide receiver spot. They could trade another guy if they were getting like a Julio Jones out of it. So imagine Julio Jones, Cortland Sutton, and then Jerry Jeudy in the slot. That'd be lethal. I don't see them trading Jerry Jeudy. Could they trade Sutton? They were without him the entire year last year. And if they traded him, I think they could hold on to Hamler and Tim Patrick. They would just have to trade him. Sutton in a second, to me, I think gets the job done. And the great thing about that is the Falcons would be getting another big-bodied receiver on the outside that really just has a great catch radius from SMU. He missed all last year due to the injury, but that would definitely be an interesting fit. The Chiefs, they're beyond interesting because you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But if you could make that work and offer like a first and a second, and then maybe even Mecole Hardman to bring Julio Jones to Kansas City, that is absolutely terrifying with Patrick Mahomes. He'd be throwing a Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, and Travis Kelce. That would be something. I really do like Cornell Powell's fit there. I don't think they'd have to give him up. So that would be something. And then the Chargers we already talked about. You might have to give up Mike Williams, but you'd still have Josh Palmer. You'd still have Jalen Guyton. The Chiefs would just be lethal, though. That's the one place I don't think anybody, unless you're a Chiefs fan, you don't want Julio to end up there because that could be game over. That could be a record-setting offense. You have 3 guys now. I've knocked them. I've said, their receiver room isn't diverse enough. And I said they rely too much on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and sure enough, in the Super Bowl, it appeared that way. But if you went out and you revamped your offensive line, which was a huge issue in the Super Bowl, and you got Julio Jones, and you didn't give up Kelce or Tyreek Hill, that would be a problem. That would be a big-time problem for everybody involved. And then finally, the AFC East. You look, the Jets, they have Denzel Mims. That is definitely an option there. Jamison Crowder as well, as Corey Davis. Odds are they'd probably want to hang on to Davis, but they could trade Denzel Mims, who was drafted in the previous regime by the previous coach, Adam Gase. That would make sense. Mims has tremendous upside, solid blocker, but he's another one of those deep threat, 6'5", ran a 4.3 at the combine type of guys. That's definitely somebody that I think could make an impact, and I think the Falcons would be interested in to replace Julio. So that could be an option. Then you look at the Patriots, and I stick by N'Keal Harry in a first-round pick. The Dolphins, that is interesting because they have guys, like, of course, Jalen Waddle, who would be off limits, like Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, Mike Gesicki, and Albert Wilson. So to me, I don't know. Miami could be an interesting one. Do they trade Will Fuller? Like, would that work? Like trading Will Fuller in like a second for Julio, or trading, Preston Williams and a first? I mean, I think Miami would be an interesting fit. You have Julio, Jalen, Waddle, and then you have either Will Fuller or Devontae Parker. That'd be a pretty good tandem there. And then the Bills. If you can make that work, you have Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis. You added Emmanuel Sanders via the draft. So you're probably trading Gabe Davis in a first-round pick. That would be scary. So to be honest with you, Julio has a fit all over the NFL. With the Rams, your new wide receiver group would likely be Robert Woods, Julio Jones, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, and Tutu Atwell, I think you'd have to trade Kupp away. But they might even, to be honest with you, I don't know how they'd really make it work, because I think the Falcons would want Van Jefferson. Because, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, they're getting a little bit older there. Keep in mind, Cooper Kupp came out at the age of 24, so he's an older receiver than people realize. So I think Van Jefferson could be an option for sure. And if they were to go after Van Jefferson, the Rams have to try crazier motives to try to get under the cap, because that just wouldn't free up anything. Now ATL needs to sign its picks. They don't have the money. Trading Julio would free up enough to sign the entire draft, plus have extra free agents. Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot that needs to, go down. And, we'll find out soon where Julio's going, But it definitely will be interesting. I'm curious to see where he goes. For whatever reason, guys, I have multi-stream chat, and it looks like YouTube is all that's coming up. So what I'm going to do is, for my Twitch viewers, if you guys don't realize or you guys notice that I'm not responding to you, it's obviously nothing against you guys. I just realized that Twitch wasn't showing up. So Soto Time, appreciate you. Turn to a POC, appreciate you. And Dak Piff, appreciate you as well. I had the chat up on this side here with Twitch, and then I have the chat over here for YouTube. I don't know why it's not coming through on the chat box, but what's up, Ace Pepino? How we doing? Yeah, it's weird. It's only coming up for YouTube. I just realized that myself. Yeah, I'll figure that out. But no, I appreciate you guys being in here. I have looks like 4 people over on Twitch, and I have, over 30 people on YouTube. My lone wanderer on Facebook, appreciate you too. Imagine it happens right on the stream, just out of nowhere. Oh, Atlanta trades Matt Ryan and Julio to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. That would be crazy. No, I agree with you, Renee. I think that Jefferson would be the guy. They would prefer Jefferson. I do agree with you there. I mean, I think the Ravens, you get a quarterback in Lamar Jackson that can really do everything and improvise, and then you get Julio Jones, who is probably the best improvisational wide receiver in the game, who will literally just go out and change his direction and just, he makes things happen. He sticks with it. So I would say the Ravens, because you'd have him, if you could keep Bateman and then one of the speedy guys, whether it be Marquise Brown or Devin Duvernay, you still have Tylan Wallace, who you drafted in, I believe, the 5th round, total steal. They would have a really good looking receiver room. Plus you still have Sammy Watkins. So I mean, I think the Ravens would be very interesting. I think the thing would be absolutely just straight up lethal and out of control. that would definitely be, in my opinion anyway, I would say would be the Chiefs, because if you were able to keep Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, it doesn't matter who else is there. If you get Julio, that is unbelievable. You have the best offensive line in football, arguably. You have the best quarterback in football. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, by the way, was on pace to have a 1,000-yard season before he got hurt, and they got Le'Veon Bell for God knows why. You have a solid defense, and you have three of the best game-breaking weapons in the game, and Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Julio Jones. So to me, that would be the most lethal. The most interesting, in my opinion, is the Ravens. Now, where do I think he goes? I think he goes to New England. I think it's a really good fit for him. They trade a first-round pick and N'Keal Harry. They get Harry off the books. They end that. They stop trying to develop him. They work with what they got in free agency. Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Of course, you have two tight ends that are absolute studs, and Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. And then they go with Julio. And I think regardless if you have Cam Newton or you have Mac Jones, I believe Mac Jones should be starting. But regardless of who you have, those are really good weapons to have, in my opinion. Yeah, Chiefs would be absolutely nuts. Forget Julio, where's Gurley going? I don't know. I mean, I think Todd kind of proved last year he's good enough to run the football in the NFL. I mean, he's not, like, at one point he was third in the league in rushing midway through the year. And then what ended up happening is that Dirk Cutter benched him. The thing I have with Todd Gurley is this. I think people focus way too much on his long speed and the fact that he's lost his jolt, his burst. He's still a capable rotational running back. He doesn't need to be a starter. He can play. What I will say is that Adrian Peterson should be signed by now. He's somebody that can come in and right away, if you gave him enough snaps, he could get to 1,000 yards. If you made him your starter and he didn't get hurt, he could get to 1,000 yards. He still has it. Go back, watch the film with the Lions. I'm telling you, AP still has it. He's not rookie AP, and he's not in his prime AP, and he's not 2,000 yard after the ACL AP, but he's definitely a 1,000-yard rusher when you look at what he's able to do. He still has a little bit to his game. So he's definitely somebody that could still help you out. But yeah, I mean, I'd say Gurley at some point or another should get another opportunity. We will see. But I don't think he would necessarily be, a bad ad for any team that's trying to, bolster their running back group. Oh, no worries. Where's Todd Gurley going to end up? He's a free agent. It makes me sad. Good question. I really don't know. I mean, the Falcons could be a player if they, want him back. Baltimore could be an option. The way Baltimore runs the football, Baltimore's probably the best option. Gurley's built to withstand that. He can be just that, kind of third down back, be more of a power back, be reliant on the short yardage situation. And then I think you're playing at Todd Gurley's strengths the way he is now. The problem is when you try to make him a feature back, you ask him to, take it the distance. He doesn't have that burst, that jolt, that energy anymore. You just don't see him explode. He's got, very limited range as far as burst goes. And so for a guy like that, goal line specialist and, short yardage situations, and Gurley would be good. I think if you if you put him, with, two guys that I really like. First off, J.K. Dobbins in his second year, and Gus Edwards, who just continues to get better and better and better. That would be a really good fit for Todd Gurley. I know I keep saying Baltimore, but Baltimore seems to be the best fit for Gurley and would be a very fun fit for Julio. Earl Thomas there's something going on there. I don't remember what it is. Yeah, I'd like to see him retire a Ram. I'd like to see all that get patched up. I mean, Todd Gurley wins the Super Bowl. Who knows what people are saying and what the Rams did and all that. But, obviously that's in an you know, alternate universe. What's up, Kevin? How we doing? Nah, Kevin, I'm planning on playing Resident Evil after the stream. Yeah, he's 26 years old. Gurley is from Maryland. I did have that knowledge when I went for the Ravens as my pick. Well, that's my thing. You know, Todd Gurley, you just need to play to his strength, because if you're trying to put him in a role to be a do-it-all guy with his knee the way it is, this is not smart. But you can actually salvage some solid play out of him in situational, you know, football if you use him in short yardage and goal line situations. Sherman hasn't been signed yet. Favorites either go back to the 49ers or you go to the Jets and you play with Robert Saleh. And to be honest with you, he's already won Super Bowls. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and plays with Robert Saleh and, you know, takes over that veteran presence there in New York, well, New Jersey, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, and even if he's not a second, he'd be a good third running back. You know, I think he'd be relatively cheap. I mean, at this point, it's either he retires or, you know, he signs a cheap 1-year deal this year and continues to try to stay in the league. I mean, it's sad, but that's what he's looking at. So to me, you know, if the Ravens come calling, I'm answering if I'm Todd. Yeah. I still find that so weird that it wasn't bringing up my Twitch commenters. Hopefully I'll figure that out, but that was annoying. And we're on top chat. I think, where did Ingram go? Didn't he go to the Chiefs? No, he went to the Texans. Him and Philip Lindsay went to the Texans. Yeah. Yeah, Ingram went to the Texans. He's not there anymore. Remember they released him before the playoffs started or during the playoffs? Ooh, that's a good question, Scott. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the Rams will have a top 5 offense and top 5 defense this season? Okay. I think they'll be the best offense in football as long as everyone stays healthy. That's not my worry. Top 5 defense, though, I could see them being like top 7, but top 5, that's tough. I'm not like super confident both of those happen. I'd probably say like a 6 out of 10 that they're a top 5 defense, because I do think losing John Johnson, losing Troy Hill, losing Brandon Staley, you know, I do think that will hurt them in a sense. I think the defense is in for a really good year. I just don't know. There's a lot of good defenses. You know, you have Washington, you have Miami, you have Pittsburgh. You know, we'll see with Kansas City. But you know, I think you have some good defenses. I mean, the first one that comes to mind when I'm talking about defenses, I always think about Washington and what they were able to do going out and getting Jamin Davis to help bolster that linebacker group. They lost Kevin Pierre-Louis, who was probably their best linebacker, and they replaced him with an athletic freak, a physical specimen, if you will, in Jamin Davis. So I'm really excited to see that and how that works out. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Yeah. Yeah, Philip Lindsay went to the Texans. I think it's good for him. You'll get to see him get an opportunity there. Here's the thing. I said this, if you guys missed it, I had Nick Hamilton on the show, and Nick and I were talking about how Pep Hamilton, went to, um, he went to the Texans, and why that was such a bad move for the Chargers to let him go. And I thought about it. And I'm like, you know what? Pep Hamilton on the Texans actually makes a lot of sense because, like, people know this is a lost year for the Texans, but if you were to, if he comes out strong and, you can see on film, like, he's getting the best out of these players, then, it's just going to look good for him, on his resume. And it's kind of like this, I think a guy like Philip Lindsay has an opportunity. Mark Ingram is just going where the money is, and he's going where he can stay in this league at this point, late in his career. But a guy like Philip Lindsay kind of fell out of favor with a new coaching staff and a new regime over in Denver. He goes to Houston, and he has an opportunity to put some really good tape up on there because the thing is, Houston's going to be running the football a lot. They're going to be down a lot. I think, to me, Philip Lindsay has a chance to really reemerge himself, not only in the fantasy community, but in the NFL. So I actually like that he signed with Houston. Take a year, revitalize your career, get yourself back on track, and get back out there on the market after this year. The Texans have opportunity because there's going to be a lot of guys that get playing time that wouldn't have otherwise got playing time. But I think that's definitely something I'm interested in. Yeah, I know. Steve was not a fan of Adrian Peterson going to the Rams. I mean, he doesn't have to go to the Rams. I mean, I think this guy can still start. So, if he were to go back to the Lions, I think it makes some sense. Or the Jets. I don't know. AP could probably find a home. There are a lot of places. I'll tell you this right now. This may be kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm so sold that Sony Michel isn't the guy in New England, and so sold on Damian Harris that I wouldn't mind New England going after Adrian Peterson, bringing him in, and Julio Jones. Having those big names. Pray for positive regression. No, Lindsey's a good back. But yeah, guys, I'm back. Hope y'all missed me. I told you I'd be back on this, streaming like this, but like I said, I was just like, you guys got to give me some time. I want to get my, streaming setup in order and everything. Hope the stream looks good. As you know, I've made some changes. I'm not in the office as much anymore. I have my home office. I have my fake brick wall in the back. I have this monitor that is actually for work, but I just use it because it has to be there. So I just use it just to hold that logo there. You can see all the bokeh and everything because I have, the Sigma the 30 millimeter Sigma lens. I'm using the A64. 100 Sony. So I've upgraded the equipment since the last time I streamed. Kind of, because I just realized the last time I streamed, I used my father's A6400 before I bought my own. That was during the AJ DTR draft show. Raheem Morris fired Sean in Tampa, and now Sean hired Morris. I know, that is so weird to me. It's so weird. I mean, I guess it just kind of shows you who Sean McVay is, but man, I would be petty. There's no way if I got fired by somebody, I already know the person I'm thinking of. I would never hire him. I heard things about it. I was playing Resident Evil 7 and someone mentioned it in the stream. So that was cool. Guys, we talked about Julio Jones, just Julio Jones. I mean, like some other things here and there, but mainly Julio Jones for over an hour. I'm proud of us. Proud of us. Now if only we could figure out how to get this chat working for everybody. So, question for you guys, since I have, quite a few people in here. You think the new unis are canceled? Cancel culture got to the new unis? Okay, so anyway, so what I was gonna say is, I see a few people in here. I'm curious, show of hands, you could type yes, why, nay, whatever, in the chat. Are you guys going to be honest with me? Are you going to tune in when I log off this and go on to stream Resident Evil Village? Who's gonna stick here? Not in this. I'm gonna have to make a new video altogether, new live stream. But who's gonna be in the Resident Evil Village live stream? I'm just testing something out here. I want to see how many people would carry over from this stream to the next. Hey, Luke, appreciate you. We got Scott. We got Luke. I'll take it. I mean, I'll be in and out, but yes, appreciate you, Henry. Like I said, it won't be in this thing because what I do is I know a lot of people actually, believe it or not, they'll miss this stream. I started it pretty early, so it's understandable. But they'll miss this stream, and then what they'll do is they'll go back and they'll use it as like a DVR, and they'll rewatch this. And what I don't want to do is switch this. Oh, it's no worries, man. If you're not going to be in it, it's totally fine. Like, you're supporting me right now, so I appreciate you. I'm doing this like mentally. I just want to see, like, basically to know who is interested in watching me game, because I'm going to be doing both. I might do this consistently, so we'll see if this helps at all. But I guess what I'm saying is that, I want to see who carries over, because I definitely want to do both. And I think it'd be smart for me to continue doing both. I want to do them consistently. And I want to get more people in. I want to get new people in. I want to get the same people in. So, and just have some fun with it. But yeah, guys, I mean, this channel, if you guys were looking for, Rams content, if you're looking for NFL content, if you're looking for MCU content, gaming content, other entertainment, I did a movie review on Cherry. This is the channel for you. I'm just going to continue. We're going to do stuff every single day. There will be content for the rest of time, every single day. You heard it here first. You can clip me on that. You can post it. And then if I don't do something one day, you can send that to me and be like, I trusted you. And you let me down. And then you just show me the video, and then I'll get my ass in gear, But man, this is awesome though. I just started this about Julio Jones and everybody just joined in. But the hardest part is ending a stream, because you never know when you're supposed to end it. When it gets like really dead and died down, but like you guys are still interacting, so it's hard. But like for me, when I'm doing like a video game like live stream, like when I was live streaming Resident Evil, I basically decided, yeah, all that stuff I just did, I don't want to really do any of that. Like I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, perfect, I can save here. Okay, all right, we're done for tonight. Thanks, guys. Like, that was me. Somehow we got Resident Evil beat in 3 live streams. We just started Resident Evil Village. I also take requests on other games as well. So be sure to, stop by, whether it's on Twitch, which, let's see, right there, if you want to go and look at that, by the way. I love my camera. That's pretty awesome. Right there, if you want to go and support my Twitch, go follow JKBogan15. I'm going to check how many people I have right now on there. I think it's growing. We have 55 followers, so you know we're moving up the rungs a little bit, which is cool. And then of course you guys already know with YouTube, we have I want to say over 4,500. Yeah, we're at 4,515. So if you guys like this, if you're new, welcome. Appreciate you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're on mobile, you can actually hit the bell icon. It will send you a push notification when I drop a new video. The more you know. And for you Rams fans, I've been doing a series. If you guys haven't followed, I've been doing a series about Rams 2021 stat projections. I've done all the offensive players, and I just finished my Aaron Donald video today. I dropped that earlier, so be sure to check that out. But that's going to do it for me in this capacity. I'm going to take a little bit of a breather, grab a drink of water, maybe get something to eat, maybe some keto ice cream or something, and then I'm going to head back on. And on this same channel, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, you can find on my channel, I'm going to be streaming Resident Evil Village. It's the brand new horror, survival horror game. So be sure to tune in for that. But again, appreciate you guys stopping by the stream, interacting with me. I love each and every one of you. And I'm going to try to do this every single day. If we can do double every single day, great. But there'll be some days I might feel like just doing this and then won't do the video game. Or there'll be some days where I feel like just gaming and not doing this. But I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I'm just going to continue doing what I do and, see if we can just blow this thing sky high in a good way, not a bad way, good way. We're growing on YouTube. I want to see us continue to grow on Twitch. But again, appreciate you guys. If I don't see you in the stream, for Resident Evil, I will see you back here at some point. Wednesday, still up in the air. We're going to try to get Steffi Smalls on as a guest. We're going to try to get another guest unnamed to be named later during this week. Those are my least interactive videos. Those are more just about me and the guest. So I try to, interact with you guys, but it's always hard for me with that. But when it's just like me, I can definitely interact more with the chat. I try to read every comment I can. And as you guys already know, I'll be doing pregame and postgame streams during the NFL season. I'll be going to a few games, so those streams might be a little weird. They might be from a phone. Who knows? I have no idea where that's going to go because I'm going to be at Rams Giants and Steelers Broncos. That's what's confirmed. There could be more, but that's going to do it for me. Catch me on the Resident Evil Village stream, Twitch at JKBogan15, YouTube, just my name, Jake Ellenbogen. And if you guys like this, be sure to let YouTube and the algorithm know by hitting that thumbs up, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys. If I don't see you in that stream, I'll talk to you guys soon. You guys take care. Have a great night. And for anybody who's still there, go Rams. Peace.